for our industry, like the marriage of having your own technical background, your own industry experience with the AI to make you more efficient, to help you with those outreach points, that's the beauty of it. I think that's really where it's going to work really, really well.
Hello and welcome to the Make It, Move It, Sell It podcast. On this podcast, I talk with company leaders about how they're modernizing the business of making, moving, and selling products. And of course, having fun along the way. I'm your host, Adam Honig, the CEO of Spiro.ai. We make amazing AI software for companies in the supply chain. And joining me today, we're talking with my partner, Justin Kao, the other founder of Spiro.ai.
Thank you for having me. I am honored. Finally, you guys bust me out once a year, and I'm always looking forward to it. So
I know we try to keep you under wraps. It's way too much value that you would bring.
Right. That's the reason why you don't let me talk in public.
Exactly. Well, it has been, a little bit over a year since you were on the podcast, and I feel like AI has just been like crazy in this past year. We've seen all kinds of new models, new uses, new cases. I'm wondering, from your perspective, how do you feel like customers are really looking at this? The manufacturers and distributors that you talk with, are they feeling more comfortable with it? Do they feel threatened with it? Is there a backlash? What's your perspective on that?
It's interesting you asked that. We've been attending a lot more conferences this past year, and I think a little bit of everything that you mentioned is happening. Ever since ChatGPT came out a few years back, obviously AI got just pushed to the forefront of everything, and everyone's been obsessed with it. Manufacturing and distribution have technically been really slow industries at adopting technology. So in most scenarios, they'd be 10 to 15 years behind, not just a few years behind. But it's so noisy that you really can't ignore it. And so what's been happening at the conversations that I'm having at a lot of these trade shows is that people are really figuring out how to put this into their business. And people are actually starting to do it. And I'm seeing some really cool stuff happening. And a lot of times at these trade shows, they're going to have speakers talking about applications for AI, how to really push digital transformation, because a lot of our customers, a lot of manufacturers, a lot of distributors are still using Excel spreadsheets or Post-it notes to figure out what to do next. And so it's really interesting. People are scared in a sense because they haven't really been great at adopting new technologies in the past, but they are hearing so much about all the things that you can be doing with this and how you can be way more effective and push your organization to the next level that you can't really ignore it. So it's kind of a mix of all those things that you're talking about.
Yeah, so speaking about Post-it notes, I was at a manufacturing company yesterday, and we were doing a little bit of user training on some things related to Spiro, and one of our users had a sticky note pasted up right up on the top of her monitor that said Chat GPT, because she really wanted to make sure that she was not forgetting it, I guess.
So the Post-it note just said ChatGPT.
That's all it said was ChatGPT. It's just like a reminder that she had this amazing thing available to her that she could use for free whenever she wanted,
Yeah. ChatGPT has done a lot for folks in understanding the application of AI. And typically when someone comes up to me and is like, hey, how does this work? I generally ask, have you guys used ChatGPT before? Because that is a good way to kind of gauge how interested they are in AI. And more times than not, people are saying, yeah, I played with it. It's amazing. And we're doing some similar things in Spiro, right? Where we're using AI to summarize emails, summarize phone calls, summarize Teams meetings, summarizing order information. And people put the pieces together. They're seeing that this information over here can help me better understand what's going on with my customer. So it's really helped a lot to just really educate the market around AI.
Yeah, I was really worried myself that there might be a big backlash against it because of sort of the fun use cases, having it write a silly poem or a song or make a crazy picture or something like that. But I feel like people can really see through the dumb things, if you will, and focus on the areas that can provide them a lot of business value.
Yes. I mean, there are some things that are pretty crazy out there. I've seen software that can mimic a call agent. with AI, and it's not quite there yet. Like you can tell the cadence of the voice and the conversation that they're having, that it's not like a person talking to you, but it's kind of like, you're talking about like people making Drake songs or Tupac songs or using AI technology, and I'm like, well, that's not going to be that far to get like to mimic a salesperson. We're saying the same thing all the time anyway. At a certain point, you're going to be able to do that. And there's a lot of audio out there on Adam Honig. Eventually, I'm going to have an adamhonig.ai bot that I can use to sell. And it'd have to be you because you got the radio voice. You wouldn't want a Justin Ko AI bot, but you'd want an Adam Honig AI bot. And it's going to be able to sell you and have a conversation with you, and it's scary and exciting all at the same time.
We have a customer who makes sort of a technical piece of equipment, and what they were telling me is that they've found this service that they can load their essentially their documents into, and it creates training videos based upon the spec. And the beauty of it is not just that it creates the video, which is awesome, but that if the spec changes, they can just run it back through, because this is so hard, right? You do a training video on Spiro on our software, we update something and it's out of sync. And so if you have a complicated product that does evolve and change, I think it's such a great use case of having the AI be able to just do that for you. Even if it's obviously AI, it's better than, not.
Right. I think, kind of your example and what people are seeing is that people are starting to realize that AI can help them save so much time. I think like the example that you brought up, right, where a software is reading bits of content and coming up with training videos. A friend of mine started a company that does AI order entry, where you can take a picture and enter orders automatically. Or, for example, our AI, where we're automatically summarizing a lot of communication. People are starting to finally connect the dots there, where you're like, okay, AI, it's cool, but what does it do? And I think people are starting to understand, oh, it's time savings, it's efficiency. It's a lot of stuff that I could focus on the more important things rather than data entry or writing up a report. Like I can really just focus on the most value added things of my job. So that's the exciting thing for folks, and they're starting to see that.
Yeah, I feel like the concern about AI, destroying jobs is also kind of going away. Like I feel like, there was a lot of concern about that when AI was first coming out, that all these jobs are going to be lost. I don't feel like any of our customers have, decided to let people go as a result of using AI. Have you seen that?
I have not. I think that you're right. It's really focusing their time on the valuable aspects of their job. So instead of having to work extra hours afterwards, like after you go visit a customer, instead of having to go to your hotel room and log all your notes through a CRM, that's just already taken care of for you. So you can spend more time on research. You can spend more time on making sure you're up to date on what they've ordered, any past issues they've had. So it's really, it's redirecting your focus and hopefully helping you sell more. So it's not about replacing your job. Now, that call center software I was talking about before, it's not quite there yet. Maybe that eventually might replace some call center employees, but I'm not seeing it for like the value added sales. I'm definitely not seeing it in the industry, because you need a lot of knowledge, information, technical know-how to be able to sell in manufacturing and distribution. And there's no way AI is taking any of that away from anyone anytime soon.
Right. Now, we did a recent industry survey here at Spiro, and we went out to, thousands of manufacturers and distributors and kind of took their pulse on what was going on in the industry. And one of the bits of feedback that came back that was very interesting was that a large number of them, 4 out of 5, reported that they had unexpectedly lost accounts over $100,000. Yeah. And, and we see this as a clear use case for AI to help with. Maybe you could just kind of tell us how that might work.
Yeah. I mean, with Spiro specifically, we've got AI software that looks through your normal cadences with your customers, understands how often you should be reaching out to them, and it prompts you to not let that fall through the cracks. Kind of anecdotally, we've actually had a customer that just signed on recently, and they've got program managers working with their customers, and they realized that they're in bad with a specific customer, and it didn't come out until the customer tried to cancel. And just if they had Spiro at that point in time, they would have known ahead of time that their customer wasn't being taken care of the right way, right? So things like that, it's table stakes at this point. I think you've got a lot of companies investing in it, the ones who are brave to really dip their feet in the AI first. And as those companies start to be really better at taking care of their customers, I think other people will start to see that they need to be doing this too, because it just makes the team that you have that much more efficient.
But I think the important thing here for me is also that I don't feel like an AI voice agent just calling up the company, the customer that they're worried about losing is going to be the move, you know?
No, it's not.
I'm a little bit worried because I think we all get, hundreds of emails every day, so many of which are kind of seem like they're being generated by AI today, that if you link up the AI with, all this calling technology and stuff like that, the world is going to be a very, very messy place.
Yeah, I think that's totally the wrong application of it. And to me, it's just lazy, honestly. It's kind of taking content that's pre-written and spamming it out. It's no different than copying and pasting a million emails. I feel like that's totally the wrong application of it. I mean, the way I see it working really well is it's helping you understand the profile of your customer. It's helping you understand maybe next steps, but you still have to reach out with the right expertise. You still have to know what's going on. You still have to do a little bit of research, and you can't just go in blind. So I think if you're using like an AI call center agent, it's not there yet. It can't really do that kind of research for you. It doesn't really know the next steps. But with tools like Spiro, you can really understand what's going on and use that in combination with your own technical expertise, with your own industry background, and really make the most of those outreaches. And that's that marriage, right? For our industry, like the marriage of having your own technical background, your own industry experience with the AI to make you more efficient, to help you with those outreach points. That's the beauty of it. I think that's really where it's going to work really, really well.
Right. So we've always looked at AI as a way to kind of like give extra capabilities to the team, right? Like how do we use it to kind of boost the things that they do really, really well instead of replacing kind of low-level mundane things?
Exactly. Yeah.
So kind of shifting gears a little bit, talking about customers, I try to, on the podcast, Justin, I do try to keep it a little bit light and interesting. And so, maybe you could just tell us a little bit about like any unusual customers or prospects that you've been dealing with recently.
All of our customers, they're all kind of weird in their own right. Like we've got a customer conference called Vision, and last year was the first year we did it, and meeting a lot of these folks for the first time in person, getting them all together to have a few drinks. Like we definitely have a few characters. As far as most interesting products, I gotta say, we had one customer in women's health. Women's sexual health, we can go that far maybe. That was an interesting product that they sold.
I seem to remember that visiting their website was occasionally a surprising event.
Yeah, yes. So I think that was the most out there product that we've helped sell. We've got a lot of customers using Spiro in a lot of different ways. So I've seen the gamut of like kind of the use cases, but I think that one takes the cake as far as interesting products.
Gotcha. I heard that we at one point had somebody who wanted to use Spiro as a dating app as well.
That's true, actually. I forgot about that guy. Yeah. So I had someone reach out to me towards the beginning of Spiro, and he loves Spiro as a salesperson. And I guess this guy was getting so many dates on all his dating platforms that he's like, I need Spiro to be my dating platform. I wanted to register for a Spiro phone number. I need to keep I want to sync to all the dating apps, bring all the contacts in, and recommend me using the AI who to reach out to. And he came to me with like a kind of a full business plan. He was like, this is how I'd sell it. I need you guys to get in on this. This is going to be huge. And I was like, dude, I'm having we've got enough customers to take care of on our own. I can't be dealing with crazy people like you. So I just said, good luck to him. Hopefully he built his own dating CRM. I don't know. I should check up on him though.
You got to admire the entrepreneurial spirit, though. I mean, some people get really, seized with the vision and they go and just do it. Good for them.
You can't hate on it. It's just, not for us.
So tell us a little bit more about the upcoming Vision conference. What's that going to be all about?
Yeah. So, we typically have a small subgroup of customers and folks in the industry come together. We talk about technology, we talk about AI, we talk about CRM best practices. And it's really just a kind of a meeting of the minds to really help folks understand, get the most out of their CRM experience. And it's a great way for folks, meet other companies who are similar sizes, serving similar industries, or even just kind of totally out there. But really just having folks come together and swap ideas about digital transformation, CRM, and AI and how it applies to their companies and their businesses. It's really a good time. We're having it in August 19th through the 21st, I believe. And it's in Boston, and it'll be a good time to be in Boston. We'll be doing it in the Seaport. And yeah, it's just a good time to have a lot of folks come together and just learn about Spiro, learn about how to make the most out of it, and learn about best practices.
Yeah, I think at last year's conference, I was super impressed with the knowledge that people had about, kind of what they were looking for to help improve their businesses. So we had a lot of sessions talking about how do we enhance the product, right? Like what can it do to help the wheels of commerce turn better,
Yeah.
And that was a lot of the things that we've built into Spiro over these past 12 months or so have actually come directly from people's feedback, especially at the conference.
That's a good point, because we are so kind of in our world. A lot of times we build the product, we sell it, we maintain it, but we're not like using it day to day the same way our customers are. And we've got customers who like live in Spiro, right? They're in this thing when they log in at 9 a.m. and when they log up at 5 p.m., they spend their day in Spiro, and they've got thoughts and they've got ideas around how to make it better. And I think if you're not with these folks every day, you kind of don't even realize until you meet them in person. They're so passionate about it. And so when the first time we had Vision, we've met some folks who were like doing some I thought really creative things with Spiro, building their own solutions, building their own really customized reporting and analytics. And I was blown away by just the capability of our customers of how to come up with these creative solutions. And that's actually one of the things I look forward to the most, is talking to some of the more advanced users of Spiro and understanding how they're doing it, because that informs things we should be doing. How do we make their lives easier when using the application?
The other thing that was really interesting for me is, given our focus on companies in the supply chain, manufacturers and distributors, we actually have customers who sell, distributors who sell manufacturers' products, and they're both Spiro customers.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of amazing to see that kind of mix. There's actually business going on at the AI conference. Kind of interesting that way.
It's kind of like you said, seeing the wheels of commerce turn and just these little conversations people are having. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a great event. There's going to be more details on the Spiro website. If Spiro customers are interested in attending, you can definitely get all of your information there. Let's kind of shift gears for a minute here too. One of the things that I've been talking a lot about with people on this podcast is changing customer expectations. And so I'm wondering, if you feel like AI's had a role in that, expecting everything to be faster, quicker, more updated, from a delivery and product standpoint. How are you feeling about that?
That's an interesting question, because AI is a bit of a double-edged sword with customer expectations, because it's kind of the Wild West a little bit in the AI world. Expectations range the board of what people think it should do and what it shouldn't do, or what its capabilities even are. And oftentimes we have people who kind of fill in the gaps with their own creativity. And we've got I would call a creative bunch of folks who use Spiro. So sometimes that aligns with reality and sometimes it doesn't. And so we always have to have a conversation with folks to make sure that they fully understand what we're doing and how it can help them in very concrete ways. So I think managing expectations within the context of AI itself can be sometimes difficult, because people they see the possibilities and they're dreamers, and you pick Spiro because you're a dreamer. You're not picking Spiro if you want the status quo, right? If you wanted to play it safe, you would still use Microsoft or Salesforce or HubSpot or something like that. So there's a bit of an aspect of that to even picking going with a small software startup like us in the first place. So that being said, it's difficult to rein it in sometimes, but at the same time, the AI itself that we're working on, the stuff that we're working on, I know kind of from our own product roadmap, what we're doing, it's like going to meet a lot of those expectations. So it's kind of very exciting. Like there's a few features that I know we've got in the roadmap that I'm like, I can't wait for them to get out there, because there's certain times where maybe the AI itself doesn't do exactly what the person thought of, but there's going to be stuff that's coming out from us in the near future that will blow people's minds and will fill all those gaps. So I'm very excited for that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, it is very exciting. For a lot of our customers, I feel like it kind of falls into the general bucket of digital transformation.
Yeah.
And I know your background, before, starting Spiro with me was in the consulting business. And so I'm wondering what your take is on a lot of these, digital transformation products. What do you think that companies should really be thinking about as they kind of get underway with that?
Digital transformation is like one of those key words that you hear about at all these conferences. Like I think every session, every conference I've been to in the past year has had some session devoted to digital transformation. And it's one of those things where I think a lot of people are asking for best practices on, but it's kind of like it's almost a personal thing for a company. They have to really be bought in from the top all the way down.
So you can't just appoint a digital transformation czar and let that person go off and do it?
Usually not. That's not usually how I've seen it be successful, at least. People have to really be bought in, because what I see sometimes is that if you have a CEO who is really into pushing things to the future, but a workforce is primarily not interested in that, it's not going to work. Digital transformation is not going to work, because unless you're really focused and like almost really pushing it hard on your team, they're not going to adopt it. They're not going to adopt whatever software you're trying to put in front of them. So you need buy-in all the way from the top to the bottom. And I think one of the things that you have to be hyper aware of with digital transformation is what the benefit is for the person who's going to actually be using the tool gets from that. One of our customers calls it the "What's in it for me" slide, the with him slide that I put now in every deck I do. If my customer wants me to help with a training of any kind, or with any of our implementation team, if they're training, I'm asking them to put a with him slide. What's in it for me? Because they need to clearly see what's in it for you. Because if the digital transformation is the result of management just needing more reports or management needing more data, there's no what's in it for me, and then there's not going to drive the right behaviors, right? So you need that buy-in. People at the top need to see why it's important. People in the middle management layer needs to understand why it's important. And then the people who are actually boots in the ground doing this stuff, they need to understand why it's going to help them. So you need it at all levels. And that is the most important thing for digital transformation.
I totally agree. I think we've all seen companies with great intentions, projects just going off the rails because they haven't really thought that through. Even as much as, everybody would like the projects to go faster, I think it's better to spend a little bit more time getting organized and thoughtful about how it's going to help everybody on the team.
Yeah. The most successful projects I see, a lot of the corporations that invest in it have done that work already, right? They've gone through the use cases from the management perspective, from the executive perspective, and from the end user perspective. And you've got folks from the end user level who can speak to it, who know the changes are coming and are excited for those changes. They have enough of a pain point where they understand, hey, we need to make this better. If everyone is happy with the status quo, but you have an executive team or ownership team who wants to just push it anyway, that generally doesn't make for a good recipe for success.
I think you're on the money there. Listen, Justin, I really appreciate your coming on the podcast. Not too frequently, but I think once a year sounds like the right cadence for me. Really appreciate your sharing with us, kind of what you're learning about AI, working with all of the different Spiro customers, and providing a little insight as to vision and some thoughts on digital transformation. So really, really appreciate that.
Well, thanks for letting me come on once a year. Maybe next time I'll, let me come in 6 months or something.
Well, it depends. And here's the thing. I think we should ask the listeners, as we always do, to maybe, rate the show, maybe give us a 5-star rating or something like that. Do you think they'd do that, Justin?
Maybe. I don't know.
All right. If we can get enough ratings, we can definitely get you back.
All right. We'll push it out there. Put it out in the ether. Give us 5 stars. Let me come in more than once a year.
All right. Well, thank you, Justin. And just as a reminder to all of our listeners, you can find every episode of the Make It, Move It, Sell It podcast at spiro.ai/podcast. And like Justin was saying, give us a good review, maybe subscribe, maybe let us know what you think. And in the meanwhile, we will look forward to speaking to you on the next episode.